In every age, people have asked the same questions. What is the good life? How should we treat one another? What does it mean to be free or virtuous or just? What does it mean to be human? Western moral philosophy for beginners and Anaximenes Media takes you on a guided journey through the minds that shaped the moral backbone of the West, from the earliest Greek thinkers to the modern age. Lived stories of struggle, ambition, conflict, revelation, all unfolding against the sweep of history. If you've ever wanted to understand philosophy clearly, calmly, and humanly, if you want to know not just what these thinkers argued, but why it mattered, follow Western moral philosophy for beginners today and explore 10 more podcasts at Anaximenes Media. Anaximenes, living between 586 and 526 BCE, was a pre-Socratic philosopher from ancient Greece, hailing from the city of Miletus. He is often grouped with his mentor, Anaximander, and his predecessor, Thales, as one of the early figures who sought to understand the nature of the cosmos through rational inquiry rather than mythology. Anaximenes is particularly known for his belief that air, rather than water or an abstract concept, is the fundamental substance of the universe. However, his contributions go beyond physics. They also delve into the moral and ethical implications of his ideas. Anaximenes' philosophy presents a compelling framework to explore how the physical world influences moral considerations. Central to his thought is an understanding of the concept of change as a process determined by the qualities of the underlying substance, which he identifies as air. For Anaximenes, air is not merely a material entity, but a vital, dynamic principle that shapes everything around us. This notion leads to a unique perspective on morality. If air is the source of all existence, and if all things derive their characteristics through processes like rarefaction and condensation, then the moral implications can be profound. One of his fundamental ideas is that everything in the universe shares a common origin. He argued that all things, humans, animals, plants, and even celestial bodies, emanate from a single source, air. This creates a web of interconnectedness within the world, suggesting that understanding one's own nature involves also understanding the nature of all things. By viewing air as the substance that underpins the universe, Anaximenes posits that human life is inherently linked to the greater cosmos, which introduces an ethical dimension to how we view our lives and responsibilities. Consider, for instance, his concept of rarefaction and condensation. Anaximenes theorized that changes in the physical state of air through processes of either becoming denser or more rarefied account for changes in other substances. Applying this idea to moral philosophy, one might posit that actions, individual choices, and behaviors reflect a similar process. Choices made with clarity and insight represent a kind of rarefaction leading to positive outcomes, while those made in ignorance or haste represent condensation, leading to negative consequences. This model can be applied to personal ethics, where clarity of thought and intention is essential for making moral decisions. This brings to mind modern dilemmas. such as those faced in the realm of technological advancement and artificial intelligence. As society innovates at an unprecedented pace, moral clarity is essential. Decisions made in the hurried pursuit of progress, without careful consideration of ethical implications, may lead to societal condensation, the negative consequences of technology that can exacerbate inequality, privacy invasion, and alienation. Anaximenes' insights can serve as a call for mindfulness, urging individuals and societies to be aware of the ramifications of their choices in the face of rapid change. Echoing his view that understanding the nature of our actions leads to more harmonious living. Moreover, Anaximenes' ideas resonate within the context of politics and governance. Just as he claimed that all substances originate from air, one could argue that all political power and authority derive from a common social compact or collective understanding of justice and equity. In democratic societies, where citizens are encouraged to participate and voice their opinions, reminding ourselves of the interconnectedness of our communities can enhance moral responsibility. When society opts for rarefaction, clear dialogue, and mutual respect in political discourse, it fosters an environment conducive to justice, whereas condensation may manifest in toxic polarization and discord. However, alongside the marinating ideas of interconnectedness is an important critique of Anaximenes' view. One significant limitation emerges from his reliance on a singular substance as the basis of all things, a characteristic shared by early atomists like Democritus. Critics argue that this oversimplification neglects the multifaceted nature of moral experiences, which often resist reduction to a sole principle or material substance. Later thinkers, including the philosopher Plato and, subsequently, Aristotle, would challenge this monistic view, advocating for a more nuanced understanding of moral complexity. The historical dialogue surrounding Anaximenes' ideas reveals a chain of moral thought that continues through the ages. Drawing from earlier philosophers like Heraclitus, who emphasized the constant flux of reality and the struggle of opposites within that change, Anaximenes shifts the focus to a foundational substance, providing a pivot for subsequent philosophical explorations of morality and existence. The later works of Plato and Aristotle build on these reflections by exploring moral truths and the nature of the good life, indicating a movement away from the reliance on a singular earthly element. Another philosopher who can be connected to Anaximenes is Epictetus, a Stoic thinker from the 1st century CE. While Epictetus' focus is primarily on individual moral agency and the nature of human freedom, both he and Anaximenes grapple with the relationship between the cosmos and ethical living. For Epictetus, understanding oneself in relation to the greater universe is crucial to living a virtuous life, demonstrating that the dialogue concerning our connection to the cosmos has ancient roots that influence modern ethical considerations. As we reflect on Anaximenes' philosophy, it invites us to consider how these ancient ideas might inform our present lives. In a world often characterized by disconnection and division, Anaximenes' belief in a shared origin can serve as a powerful reminder of our interconnectedness. The moral imperative to act with clarity, responsibility, and mindfulness resonates today as we navigate complex issues in various realms. From environmental crises to social justice movements, understanding our actions through the lens of his thought encourages a deeper contemplation of our impact on others and the world. In conclusion, engaging with Anaximenes not only illuminates the philosophical discourse of antiquity, but also prompts us to examine how such ideas manifest in our contemporary moral landscape. His vision of a universe rooted in a single substance fosters a profound understanding of interconnectedness that can guide modern society towards a more harmonious existence. As we embark on this exploration of Anaximenes' moral philosophy, let us keep in mind not only the threads of historical discussion, but also the relevance these ancient ideas hold for our ethical considerations today, asking ourselves how they might shape our lives and decisions in a world requiring both responsibility and compassion. In the continuing journey through philosophical thought, the legacy of Anaximenes offers a rich foundation for understanding our moral responsibilities in an ever-evolving context. His perspectives remind us that at the heart of ethical living lies not only the pursuit of knowledge, but also a recognition of our profound connections to each other and the world around us. In examining Anaximenes' philosophy further, we must delve deeper into the nuances of his ideas and how they diverge from or align with subsequent moral considerations throughout history. Anaximenes' assertion that air as a singular substance is the fundamental principle of existence offers a lens through which to understand not only the physical world, but also our ethical responsibilities within it. His framework suggests a continuity that binds us to one another and to the universe at large, an idea that arguably lays the groundwork for later philosophical explorations about human interconnectedness and responsibility. One of Anaximenes' more profound moral implications is the idea of transformation. By proposing that everything can change through processes akin to the rarefaction and condensation of air, he hints at immutable morality that can adapt based on the conditions surrounding it. This reflects a dynamic rather than a static view of ethics. Such a framework can resonate well with modern discussions around moral relativism versus moral absolutism. In a world as complex as ours, where diverse cultures and perspectives abound, Anaximenes reminds us that our moral judgments may also require adjustment based on a richer understanding of the context and the connections that bind us. To consider how this fluidity applies in contemporary situations, we can look at issues such as climate change and global health. Anaximenes' insights urge a collective ethical responsibility towards the environment, invoking the understanding that degradation in one part of the earth affects the whole system. If all entities, living or inanimate, are interconnected through the shared substance of air, then actions that harm nature reverberate through the entire global community. The moral imperative to act against climate change becomes not merely an environmental concern, but a profound ethical issue that underscores our shared humanity. Decisions made today regarding emissions, conservation, and sustainability must consider not just immediate effects, but also long-term consequences that ripple throughout populations and ecosystems. Moreover, the implications of Anaximenes' framework can be observed in the realm of public health, particularly significant during global crises like the COVID-19 pandemic. Anaximenes could be seen as a precursor to the modern understanding of how health is interconnected. Because air signifies breath and life, the notion that infectious diseases can spread through people highlights the importance of community awareness and action. Thus, our responses to health crises can be viewed through the prism of Anaximenes' philosophy, where an individual's health directly impacts broader society. This recognition compels us to take ethical responsibility for not only our well-being, but also the health of our neighbors. While Anaximenes' ideas offer a significant foundation for understanding morality in connection with existence, it is essential to recognize the criticisms that have arisen since his time. One of the main critiques of Anaximenes' monistic view, that a single substance can explain the complexities of life and morality, has led to an understanding of the multifaceted nature of human experiences. Philosophers like Empedocles and later Aristotle argued against the simplification inherent in a single principle and emphasized the importance of multiple elements interacting within the moral and natural order. This critique laid the groundwork for more nuanced approaches to ethics, where understanding human experiences required looking at various influences beyond material substance. Anaximenes' reliance on air may be juxtaposed against modern philosophical inquiries, such as those by ethical frameworks that emphasize duty, virtue, and the consequential impacts of one's actions in complex social structures. The dialogue about how we must parse the interrelations of various moral issues continues to challenge the kind of singular vision Anaximenes advocated. Yet, despite its limitations, Anaximenes' framework remains foundational in presenting how the natural and moral realms intertwine. His legacy influences thinkers across the centuries, as later figures try to grapple with how fundamental elements of existence shape ethics. Plato's theory of forms, wherein he distinguishes between the material and ideal realms, reflects a departure from Anaximenes' belief in a singular foundational element. Where Anaximenes sought to ground everything in air, Plato sought to identify universal truths inherent in ideal forms themselves, which could provide a more versatile moral framework that regarded the complexities of reality. Further down the line, Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus echoed some of Anaximenes' notions of interconnectedness, even as they pivoted towards an individualized ethics based on rationality and virtue. They maintained that understanding oneself as part of a larger cosmological order is critical for leading a moral life, highlighting continuity within these evolving dialogues of moral philosophy. In contemporary thought, Anaximenes' influence can be observed in discussions around corporate ethics and social responsibility. Just as he posited that everything is interconnected, today's businesses are beginning to embrace shared value models that recognize the importance of their impacts on community and the environment. The modern corporate ethos involves understanding that an organization's success is not isolated, but is deeply tied to societal well-being. Companies that focus on ethical practices are those that realize their actions, much like Anaximenes' air, permeate far beyond their immediate financial gains to shape societal norms and influence positive change. The fluidity in Anaximenes' thought also draws parallels with ideas in existential philosophy, especially regarding the search for meaning and responsibility in an ambiguous world. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre suggest that existence precedes essence, compelling individuals to construct their moral frameworks. While Anaximenes posits an intrinsic bond through the medium of air, existential thinkers encourage individuals to navigate their relationships within the chaotic tapestry of existence. This tension between intrinsic connection and personal agency fosters dialogue on how much our ethics are shaped by the cosmos and how much we're tasked with defining them through personal choice. A pivotal aspect to consider in engaging with Anaximenes' philosophy lies in recognizing the enduring relevance of his insights concerning interconnectedness. In a digitally interconnected world where information and individuals interact across vast distances, Anaximenes' assertion that we all share a common origin encourages a sense of unity that can transcend geographical and cultural barriers. The idea that our ethical precepts should be influenced by our connections with others, acknowledging the impact of our actions on the collective, continues to resonate today amid calls for increased global cooperation to address shared challenges such as climate change and health pandemics. As we delve deeper into our own ethical landscapes, we may find ourselves grappling with Anaximenes' dynamic views, urging us to critically engage with both the physical and moral implications of our existence. How do our daily decisions reflect our understanding of interconnectedness? Are we being mindful of the larger system within which we operate? The concept of rarefaction and condensation, in this context, becomes a valuable metaphor. Are we fostering clarity and understanding in our interactions? Or are we contributing to confusion and depth? The journey to navigate Anaximenes' contributions urges us to not only appreciate the web of life surrounding us, but to actively engage in shaping a realization that can have profound implications for the choices we make in our families, communities, and the greater world. As individuals who partake in this shared existence, we are called to reflect on how our values manifest in actions and how they resonate with others, echoing Anaximenes' belief in the essential interconnectedness of all. In closing, Anaximenes' exploration of air as the foundational substance enriches our understanding of morality, positioning it within a framework that embraces change, interdependence, and the search for clarity. Navigating through his philosophical lens, one cannot help but recognize the ties that bind humanity together and our collective responsibility to honor those connections. As we continue this exploration into the nature of our ethical lives, let us remain open to how these ancient ideas continue to shape our understanding of who we are and who we wish to become in an ever-evolving cosmos. In considering Anaximenes' moral philosophy, one must also examine how his views intersect with the discussions of existence that follow him, particularly as they relate to the interplay between the individual and the collective, the material and the ideal, and the fixed and the fluid. Through his emphasis on air as the primal substance from which everything flows, Anaximenes presents not just a physical reality, but a canvas upon which moral dimensions can be painted. This perspective is particularly valuable as we delve deeper into how his insights provide a platform for engaging with contemporary ethical dilemmas and frameworks. The notion of interconnectedness, intrinsic to Anaximenes' thought, cultivates a sense of ethical relationship. It urges us to recognize that our individual actions hold significance within a larger tapestry of existence. This is especially relevant today in discussions centered around collective responsibility in areas like environmental stewardship, social justice, and public health. Anaximenes' philosophy serves as a philosophical underpinning for movements advocating for systemic change in response to climate disasters or societal inequalities, highlighting the need for concerted, informed actions that resonate across communities. When we look at climate change, the notion of moral clarity becomes essential. Anaximenes reminds us that our actions in one area profoundly affect another. The choices we make, whether as individuals, corporations, etc., or governments, carry consequences that extend far beyond immediate localities. This understanding parallels what we now refer to as intergenerational ethics, where the decisions made today will have repercussions for future generations. Just as air influences and sustains life, so too do our ethical actions shape the world that future generations will inherit. In this way, Anaximenes' ideas encourage a broader ethical perspective that incorporates the idea of temporal interconnectedness, urging us to think not only of our current moral actions, but of their long-term implications. Anaximenes' focus on transformation through processes of rarefaction and condensation also provides valuable insights into our individual moral development. The recognition that moral understanding can shift and evolve echoes in the ethical discourse surrounding personal growth and accountability. It speaks to the importance of self-reflection and the acknowledgement that one's past actions do not irrevocably define one's moral future. This idea of moral fluidity is critical in fields like psychology and education, where the emphasis often lies on growth mindsets and the capacity for change. In essence, by allowing for transformation akin to the physical processes Anaximenes describes, we embrace the potential for redemption, learning, and renewal within ourselves and others. Turning our attention to the political realm, Anaximenes' philosophy offers a foundational perspective on citizenship and governance. His assertion that everything emanates from a singular principle can illuminate discussions on the concept of the social contract, a cornerstone of modern political philosophy. In democratic societies, the idea that all individuals possess inherent value, much like all elements deriving from air, promotes a sense of equality and shared responsibility. It invites citizens to recognize their part in the larger community and to engage in politics with the understanding that personal liberties are intertwined with the rights and well-being of others. In practical terms, this interconnectedness plays out in how citizens are encouraged to participate in political discourse. When we acknowledge that our choices reflect back on the community, as Anaximenes suggests with his emphasis on the mutual dependence of all entities, we foster an environment where civic responsibility can thrive. This is crucial amidst rising polarization in political environments, where the piecemeal approaches to governance often neglect the interconnected realities that Anaximenes explored. The call for more productive civil dialogue and collaboration is emblematic of his philosophical ideas as they advocate against the disconnection that often hinders constructive political engagement. However, while Anaximenes provides a compelling ethical framework, it is essential to confront the critiques that arise from his work. The singular reliance on air as the foundation for all existence presents limitations, particularly when grappling with the varied and complex nature of human experiences. Critics argue that while seeking unity through a singular substance is intriguing, it can also lead to oversimplification, neglecting the richness of moral experiences shaped by more diverse influences. This critique sets the stage for the later developments in moral philosophy that emphasize a plurality of elements shaping moral understanding. Empedocles, for instance, proposed a dualistic approach that incorporated conflicting forces like love and strife as essential to the workings of the universe. In this light, the challenges and complexities presented by opposing forces may provide a more accurate reflection of human moral dilemmas than a unifying principle could. By recognizing the interplay of multiple elements, moral philosophy can more accurately represent the varieties of experience and the layers of ethical considerations that arise from them. Similarly, Aristotle's ethical framework filled gaps left by earlier philosophers, including Anaximenes. Aristotle's virtue ethics grappled with the complexities of moral character and emphasized the significance of context, habituation, and the cultivation of virtue in balancing individual desires with communal good. The shift from a singular foundation to a nuanced exploration of ethical behavior serves as a critical evolution in understanding morality. Anaximenes' contribution, seen in juxtaposition with those of Aristotle, highlights the journey of thought that leads from grounding elements to the layered tapestry of ethical reasoning. Even within the realm of Stoicism, the teachings of Epictetus point to the importance of recognizing individual agency and the necessity of personal virtue within a cosmos that demands attention to the larger picture. While Anaximenes evokes a seamless unity of all things, Stoic thought emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility, where individuals are tasked with navigating their actions amidst chaos, further enriching the ethical discourse initiated by the early philosophers. In addressing modern ethical dilemmas, the essence of Anaximenes' thought remains palpable. Consider the burgeoning dialogue around technology, particularly artificial intelligence, and its implications for society. The rise of AI challenges our notions of moral agency, accountability, and the interconnectedness Anaximenes advocated. If we view technology as an extension of our actions, considering each decision within the spectrum of shared responsibilities, we can approach these challenges with the clarity and consideration emphasized in his philosophy. As AI systems become increasingly embedded within societal structures, the decisions made by those who develop and implement these technologies reverberate through the broader community. Anaximenes' principles remind us that our relationship with technology is not merely transactional. It is a moral relationship rooted in mutual impact. The decisions to prioritize ethical guidelines in the development of these technologies shape the trajectories of our collective future, just as Anaximenes advocated for self-awareness in alignment with the nature of air. The consciousness of our shared existence with these advancements could lead to ethical practices that prioritize the well-being of all over mere technical progress. Furthermore, as we face escalating disparities fueled by technological innovation, Anaximenes' call for connectivity reinforces the necessity for inclusive dialogues around access, opportunity, and equity. The echo of his philosophical ideas reverberates within movements advocating for digital equity and justice, where the pursuit of technological advancements must align with overarching commitments to social welfare. The interconnectedness he championed invites us to think critically about the societal ramifications of emerging technologies and how moral responsibilities must evolve in tandem with these shifts. As we draw to a close, Anaximenes' contributions to moral philosophy stand as a potent reminder of our shared existence and the implications of our actions. His emphasis on the dynamic nature of reality invites us to reflect on our interconnectedness while encouraging an understanding of moral choices that transcend simplistic formulations. The complexity of ethical living, as underscored by Anaximenes, speaks to modern dilemmas that require a deep engagement with our interconnected realities. The journey through Anaximenes' philosophy reveals pathways to navigate our contemporary struggles, offering a compass for understanding that our lives are intricately woven into the fabric of a larger existence. As we wrestle with pressing ethical dilemmas, from social justice and governance to technological advancement, Anaximenes' thoughts urge us to cultivate clarity, responsibility, and mindfulness. His work pushes us toward an ethical consciousness that embraces not only our individual choices, but also the profound connections that bind us to one another and the cosmos. The rich dialogue initiated by Anaximenes' exploration of air as a unifying principle continues to resonate through time, prompting questions that are as relevant today as they were in antiquity. How we engage with one another and the world matters. In recognizing our interconnectedness, we enrich our moral landscape and enhance our capacity for meaningful, compassionate living. Ultimately, Anaximenes' philosophical legacy resides in its capacity to inspire reflection and engagement with the complexities of our ethical lives. In contemplating how these ancient ideas inform our present and future, we are invited to consider the depth of our interconnectedness and the moral responsibilities that accompany it, weaving a narrative of ethical living that acknowledges the interdependence of all existence. It is this collective journey, rooted in the wisdom of those like Anaximenes, that continues to shape our understanding of moral philosophy today.
Midnight rails under silver moon, dusty boots on a winding road. A shadow's the only friend I've known since she packed up and let me go. Empty whiskey bottle on the seat, her laugh still echoes in my bones. The saddle's heavy with memories. I ride alone where the wind still blows. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Sunrise paints the horizon gold, but it don't warm a lonesome soul. Every town I pass feels half her size. Every trail's haunted by goodbye. I whisper prayers to open skies, hoping someday my heart'll find a brand new path beyond the pain, where broken hearts can heal in time. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere